Hey, today I'm going to show you how to make these cute little jean shorts for a little girl. And the first thing we're going to do is take some jeans and cut off the bottom of the leg. So this is kind of a trick because my kids were always real long-legged and grew out of everything really fast, and everything was always too short. And so sometimes Big Brother's jeans got handed down, but then you got to make them look like little girl jeans. Have you done that? I've cut off the bottom of the leg there, and I've left them a little bit long because for this little girl, she wants them to just roll up at the bottoms. So that's what they'll look like when she wears them. And so we're going to put some decorations up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some flowers around the pocket, just to make them look more girly. Okay, the next thing I did was get a little flower shape. So I actually drew this on a spirograph. You know what that is, that kid's toy? And then I just cut out the shape. So, the little girl that you're making these for has got a spirograph. Let her draw a pattern. Let her draw something and cut it out and decorate. She'll love that. So, and now I'm just going to put some of these on here, and I'm just drawing around them. And on this funny shaped material, this probably isn't going to come out a perfect drawing, but when I put the Sashiko on, I'll just be careful how I do it, and we'll make it look right. Can you see I'm just holding it in place with my fingers? Sometimes it's harder on these little shapes than it is on the big ones. These kind of look daisy-like, I don't know, maybe daisies. And you could do any little flower pattern you wanted. That'll all brighten up in a few minutes where I can see it better. So I'm just going to put a couple more of these around the edge. I could have just pulled the pocket out the way, but it's easier just to let it sew through the pocket because it's not going to make any difference. The pocket will still be functional just the same. Just a little bit awkward with it being such a small opening to manoeuvre around. And of course, because this is denim, I can't quite put as much fabric on the needle. It's sewn through quite thick denim, this, and the pocket liner material. So I'll carry on doing this. When I've got these 3 flowers done, we'll move on to the next step. We're going to applique something on and then do some Sashiko over it. For this, we'll make it like a nice, neat little job because I think little girls would like that. On the front, I've got a flower shape. This is my little pattern. And again, it's another spirograph pattern. So I've cut the shape out of fabric, used some heat and bond, and I'm just going to cut these out and press them on there, and then I'll draw the patterning on there and Sashiko that. I always think it's funny how when you first cut these shapes out and they're just an empty shape with no petal pattern and things, they're just the outline, and it just never looks good. And then it makes so much difference when you actually put the Sashiko on there. And you could put anything on the front of these jeans, and I've got some things like a cutout dog, and anything like that would be kind of cute as well. I was really thinking that a little girl would like to participate in this and maybe get some interest in sewing herself when she gets older. It would be great, wouldn't it, to pass these skills on? Okay, so I'm going to cut the other one out, and then I'll press them on I'll fuse them on. You can tell, but this is not my usual sewing machine. I've had this sewing machine for quite a while. I've never really used any of these stitches on it. It was quite an inexpensive machine, and I bought it specifically for taking to my sewing groups that I sew at, because it's lightweight and it's easy to carry. And really, when I go to those places, I don't really do anything fancy. It's pretty much all straight sewing. That's really all I've ever used it for. So I decided just to try this out, see how it goes. So I'm actually just doing a zigzag on here. Probably a bit bigger stitch than I would normally do as well. Hopefully it'll work just the same. I was not sure whether these would go under here. It's such a small area to be working in, down a short leg of a child, especially a child. but I think this is going to work okay. I am being careful not to sew the pocket in here as I'm going around. Well, I can't lie to you, this is very awkward. And I think if I do anything like this again, I probably won't put any applique on. I think I'll just do straight Sashiko. In fact, if you keep watching, I'll show you a different method to this as well. No, I don't always applique when I do the burrow style because I don't mind if that phrase and just the Sashiko holds it in place and things. It just depends what I'm making. I kind of, just decide as I go along really what's the best thing for the result I want to achieve. I'm going to try and transfer the rest of this pattern onto the flower below. And I don't know if this is going to work because I have white carbon paper. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see it even on navy blue material and the white may not show. So I'm just going to do it and we'll see. So I've got my carbon, then I've got my pattern on the top. I have secured it with a couple of pins because I don't want it to move. I'm just going to use this old biro. I'm just going to press really hard and hope for the best. If this doesn't work, then we'll have to think of something else. Alright, let's lift it up and see. Nope, doesn't show at all. Alright, so that's not going to work. So my next thing I can think of to do is just cut out this centre shape, position it on there and draw around it. So let's go ahead and do that next. Position that there. So I'm going to use this purple iron off pen. Hope I can keep this in position long enough to draw around it. I think I might just put a pin in there to anchor it. Such a small piece of paper, I don't want to tear it. At least that'll help keep it in place a little bit. The pocket's under here, so it's a little bit bumpy. So if you see that some of these lines are not quite straight, that's why it's the ridges underneath. Kind of pushing my pen out of the way. A lot of the times when you're drawing things like this though, when you sew it, you can just correct it as you go along. Let's do the same with this one. Now, I have another copy here, but because I wanted to see the finished thing. And so what happens in this pattern is these are continued to the center. So I'm just going to try to hand fill that in, just looking at that and seeing how it goes and see if I can follow that design. I think I'll just leave it at that. I think that is going to look okay. So I'm just going to do the same with this one. Green on the pink, green on the pink, and pink on the green. I've already got my green threaded in the needle here, so we'll just go ahead and do that first. So I need my little piece of rubber for pulling this needle through all these layers. Alright, so I'm going to go and continue that. And again, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. I've done the Sashiko and the little applique flowers here. So that part is all finished. I promised to show you an alternative way of putting applique onto these shorts. So this is a really delicate kind of a little job. So this is extremely fine. It's so thin that when I lay it down sometimes, depending where I lay it, I can't find it again. And I've cut out a little sample heart shape here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that right side down, and then I'm going to machine sew it around the edge, very close to the edge, maybe even 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So I'm just going to do that now. And now I'm going to just clip some of this extra off that I don't need. Doesn't have to be cut exact. Then in the back here, I'm going to actually cut a little hole, and I'm going to clip a little bit, not cutting through my stitches, but I'm just going to clip a little bit around this curved edge. And at this point at the corner. And now through my little hole I've made, I'm going to very, very carefully, because this is just really delicate stuff, turn this through. And I'm going to pull it so that it is turned to the back. You really have to take your time with this. This misty fuse is very delicate, and you have to be really careful as you turn this through, because if you tear all the misty fuse up, it's not going to do what you want it to do. When I pull this straight, it's going to pop out, and where the seams are at the stitching line, if you can see that, you're just going to flatten it down with your fingers. Push these hard bits out here. I need my little pointer to push gently on this bottom piece. So that's going to tauten it up and automatically pull this into shape. And then just go around and just finger press it, so it's exactly on that stitching line. When you've gone all around there and done that, obviously I need to work on this bit a bit more, it will be a heart shape. And then I'm just going to take it straight to the jeans, put it on there and press. And so in one go, really, you've got the heart cut out, shaped inside, and the fusible webbing on the back. And I'm just going to throw these bits away before they stick to everything when I'm not looking. So I have one made here, and I'm going to fuse it to the pocket. Now I'm just appliquing around the edge. So to do that, I'm going in directly where my stitch comes out, through the jeans pocket and coming back into the fold. If there's any tiny little points that I've made as I've done this, I'll just straighten them out as I go, just kind of straighten them with my needle. This shouldn't take too long or be too hard. The only difficult part, I think, will be when I get right down to where the pocket here is sewn onto the jeans. It's such a small space to work in that it might be a little bit difficult down there, so we'll see when I get down there. So I'll just go on and carry on doing this, and then I'll bring it back and show you. The heart is all appliqued on there, and I'm going to do some Sashiko. I've drawn a secondary heart there. I'm going to Sashiko around that, maybe do some around the edge, and just kind of see what it looks like. I'll just show you the pocket on the back. I didn't do a whole lot of Sashiko on here, but I did some. Doesn't show up real well, white on pink. It's not a real vibrant look, but it looks nice in real life. I didn't do anything very complicated because, you know, on a pocket, it's kind of hard to sew inside, especially when you get close to the seams. If you want to do something really special, you probably need to take the pocket off and then put it back on again. So, didn't want to do that for this project. Okay, my little jean shorts for a little girl are done. I think she'll think those are cute. She won't think the little boy. That's how she wanted the legs, just to turn up like that. I may just put a couple of stitches at the edge to hold those in place. With it being a little girl running around, they may not stay where I want them to stay. So and we'll take it and see what she thinks. I think she'll like it. To see a pocket replacement using Borrow, watch this video.